humility is your power. The strength of being a child is enough. When I introduced myself as the child of two parents, my mom, it used to use me to steal as a little boy. She used to take me out boosting to support her cocaine habit. When I introduced myself as the son of Dale Ecker, the man who looked at me in the eyes and said, "Son, you're going to prison." That's humility. That isn't, "Hi, my name's Andrew and I'm an author and I'm a keynote speaker and blah, blah, blah." No. Why is it that earth-based communities have had that knowledge base since the dawn of understanding? Because woven into the fabric of us is limitless possibility as just being a child. Just being a grandchild. That is enough. That is your medicine. Your medicine is the truth and the authenticity of the steps that you take. You know, and getting a certificate saying you're a shaman is great too. Okay? But let me share something with you. The intimacy of who you are is the power that will be a catalyst to take you to great places. And all it takes is a little bit of willingness. All it takes is a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of knowing. And is there opportunity to speak with the holy people? Is there opportunity to speak with the mountain? To speak with the celestial beings? Of course. In that council of limitless possibility is the recognition that we are all children. We are all grandchildren. That is how we mend this hoop, relative. That is how we step back into the place of understanding that the circle has enough for all of us, huh? The circle has enough for all of us. Every single one of us are precious, holy, and sacred. Every single one of you, I believe, at some point in our existence, said to the Creator, "I want to do this great thing." For me, it was, I want to help people connect to the drum. I want to help people connect to their medicine. I want to help the person that's struggling in the institutions. And the Creator said, "Great, Andrew. I have this opportunity for you. You're going to be the son of Kathy and Dale. And you're going to watch your mom get beat up by the police. And you're going to watch your dad use heroin and all these things, you see? And your grandparents are going to have these issues. And you're going to deal with generational trauma and all those things." And you know what I said? "Sign me up, baby! Woo! Here we go! That sounds like a great ride!" And you know what? Since I stopped being in that place, since I stopped being in that place of thinking that my poop smells worse than yours, you feel me? When I stopped thinking that, my life just switched. And man, has things been good. Because I was one of those people that would go to those meetings, you know, those 12-step meetings and stuff. And I would listen to somebody talk about how they had a divorce and lost their house. And I would think to myself, man, I've never had a house. I've never had a wife. I haven't even had a job. Who are you, you know? This guy doesn't even know who I am. You know, how can I relate to him? But you see, suffering is inherent within the human experience. Maturity, spiritual maturity says that. When you lose a loved one and your friend comes up and they start telling you about how they lost their cat, that is because their connection to suffering is their cat. It's not because their suffering is so limited. It's the same suffering. We all have suffering, relative. We all go through that. You know, how many of you have ever seen a little crawdad? You ever seen a crawdad pinchers like this, right? Yeah. You know? We used to catch those when we were kids. Anybody ever catch crawdads? Yeah, you turn over rocks, right? Super fun, you know? And you know a crawdad, right? A crawdad can't grow until it becomes uncomfortable. You see, its exoskeleton limits it. A crawdad is actually a very squishy kind of being. Squishy and soft. When it's growing, it gets to the point where it's so uncomfortable that it literally has to shed its entire skeleton. Now, could you imagine how vulnerable in that place that little crawfish is? Man, some of them are mean, aren't they, huh? When their pinchers are hard, they could just pinch you really hard, hurt your fingers and everything. But when they're like that, when they're in that place of transformation, they're extremely vulnerable. See, that's why they have to find a safe place to do that. Sometimes it's under a rock. And sometimes if you're ever walking in a creek, you'll look over and you'll think, wow, oh no, it isn't. That's the shedding of the limitations. You see? Sometimes our limitations become hard, right? They become uncomfortable. But once we shed them, we step into a place where we can become malleable. We can become like the clay that the potter wants to make into the vessel. Just like that little baby crawfish. And then what happens? Starts to get a little bit boastful. Starts to grow a strong skeleton. And then the whole process goes over again. And that's the life cycle of our beautiful little friends that live under rocks in our rivers. So many things nature is revealing to us about our personal journey, our emotional intelligence, our spirituality, all of these things. If we'll just listen, Nature is revealing those things to us in such a beautiful way. Even the apple. Man, when we see that apple up on the tree, isn't that desirable, Everybody wants that juicy apple. Or maybe I should say a Palisades peach. Man, does everybody want that peach? But what is the destiny of the peach? It falls to the ground, right? It gets bruised. It gets soft. And then the beautiful outer part of that peach begins to disintegrate. And what happens? The insects and the bugs come over and they start to smell too, right? Peaches start to get that odor. And then you would think that the journey was over. But no. The peach has to go into the place of isolation, the darkness. As it sheds its outer beauty, it then becomes the seed. And as it goes into the darkness, it gives itself an opportunity to reclaim the womb. To say, I'm ready. I'm ready to be born again. And then what happens? Breaks up through the earth and becomes a tree. Now you can know how many peaches are in a peach tree, but you'll never know how many peach trees are in one peach, Right? So many things. When we come to this place of Earth Church, right? We can realize that, yes, this is a sacred and holy place. And yes, the limitless potential of the Spirit is drawing us near. Near to that place of power, near to that place of humility, healing, transformation, all of those things. And I encourage you, relatives, open your ears up. Listen to her. She wants to speak to us in beautiful songs and mysteries. Right now is a time of great potential. I'll share something with you about fire. We have a great fire keeper here, our brother Sam I Am. And when you're making a fire, there's generally two types of wood that you'll come in contact with. You come in contact with really heavy wood, okay? What's a good heavy wood? Anybody know?
Birch.
Birch? Oak? Yes, those are good hard woods, right? Which one?
Hickory.
Hickory. Woo! That's a really good one. Now, which one's going to burn longer? The cottonwood or the hickory?
Hickory.
Hickory, right? Because the hickory's heavier. It has more density. The cottonwood is light. It doesn't have as much density. When we go into hospitals, when we go into institutions, places of deep emotional density, what happens is many times, for the uninitiated, there's this feeling of bad energy, right? You ever been around a person and just thought, oh, that person has bad energy? Is that really true? Is energy bad or good? You know what energy says? I am potential. And in the density of suffering is the strength of potential. There are a few of you that are here that are being called to the alchemy of emotional density. You can feel this inside of you. When you step into a place and recognize that density, you start to feel that gravitational pull, and instinctually you say to yourself, oh no, I can't be around that. But what happens? It keeps showing up. It keeps showing up in your life. You've cursed your gift of empathy. You thought to yourself that my gift of empathy is my pain, my suffering. But your gift of empathy is the ability to feel into the density. The density of emotional trauma holds the ability of alchemy and magnification. Once we realize that there's no bad energy, it's just simply potential. Put your hand on your heart right here. Give yourself a little drum beat. Repeat after me. Say, I am an alchemist. I am opening my heart to transforming the world. How's that feel, relative? Does that feel pretty good?